Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fundamental to life itself, but maybe something we don't think about enough. Proteins.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just words you hear, in health discussions.
Mm-hmm.
They are literally the tiny architects, building and running, well, everything in our bodies.
Absolutely. The real workhorses.
So our mission today is to unpack this fantastic material you've shared these notes on, macromolecules,
Hmm?
specifically proteins. We want to figure out, how are they put together, and what incredible jobs do they actually do?
Yeah, there's a lot there.
We're aiming for real clarity and maybe uncover some surprising things about how these little powerhouses work.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Right off the bat, the notes say proteins are absolutely essential for the body. We hear building blocks a lot.
Right.
And that's true, isn't it? They're the scaffold for muscles, bones, skin, the physical stuff.
Exactly. That's the structural part people often know. But, that's really just scratching the surface. What's truly remarkable here, I think, is how much else they do. They're critical in just, well, an incredible range of functions.
Like what specifically?
Think about transport, for instance. Moving oxygen in your blood, getting nutrients into cells, that's proteins. They act as enzymes, speeding up reactions like millions of times faster.
Wow, okay.
They work as hormones, carrying crucial messages around growth, metabolism, and your immune system. Antibodies, all protein.
Okay, antibodies.
Yeah, and they help repair tissues, support growth, keep fluids balanced, help blood clot. I mean, they can even be used for energy if your body really needs it.
Just a huge list.
The sheer breadth of their responsibilities is, frankly, pretty astounding when you stop and think about it.
Okay, so with all these incredibly varied jobs, what are they actually made of? What's the basic stuff?
Yeah, let's get down to the basics. They're made of the elements you might expect: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. But the key one, the one that really defines them, is nitrogen. That N atom is sort of the signature for proteins, setting them apart from, say, carbs or fats.
Nitrogen, okay.
Yeah.
And these are built from smaller units, right? Monomers.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Their basic building blocks, the monomers, are called amino acids.
Right.
And there are only 20 different kinds. Just 20.
Only 20? That seems low for all the different proteins there must be.
It does, doesn't it? But imagine it like an alphabet. With just 26 letters, we make countless words and stories. Nature uses these 20 amino acids to write, well, the entire instruction manual for life.
Huh. That's a great way to put it.
It's all about the sequence, the combination. That's the genius of it.
So how do these 20 amino acids actually connect? How do they form the chains?
They link up using something called a peptide bond.
Peptide bonds, okay.
And it forms through a neat little process called dehydration synthesis. Basically, you take the amino group from one amino acid and the carboxylic acid group from another, and when they join, a water molecule is released, hence dehydration. This makes a strong, stable bond, perfect for building long chains efficiently. It's a core process.
Got it. Dehydration synthesis forms the peptide bond, so you get these long chains.
Polypeptides.
Right, polypeptides.
Mm-hmm.
But you said it's not just the chain, it's the shape that matters.
Precisely. This is maybe the most critical concept. Protein function is based entirely on its specific three-dimensional shape.
And that shape comes from?
It comes directly from the sequence of those amino acids. The order dictates how the chain will fold up.
So even with only 20 amino acids,
Yeah.
the sequences create all these unique shapes.
Exactly. Infinite possibilities, really.
Mm.
Which leads to an important point. What happens if that shape gets messed up?
Yeah, the notes mention denaturation.
Right. Denaturation is just that the protein loses its specific 3D shape. And when it loses its shape,
This is its function.
it loses its function. Exactly. This can happen from things like too much heat or big changes in pH acidity or alkalinity.
And cookie and egg white, right?
Yeah.
Goes solid.
Perfect example. That's denaturation in action. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you see why our bodies work so hard to maintain stable conditions, like constant temperature and pH.
Because our proteins need that stability to keep their shape and do their jobs.
Precisely. A denatured protein is like a bent key. It just doesn't work anymore.
Okay, so how does that simple chain actually fold into these complex, specific shapes? You mentioned levels.
Yeah, it's like molecular origami happening in stages. 4 levels, actually. Each builds on the last.
All right. Level 1.
First, you have the primary structure. That's simply the linear sequence, just the list of amino acids in order linked by those peptide bonds. Think of it like beads on a string. It's a direct translation of the genetic code.
Okay, the basic sequence. Then
And then comes the secondary structure. Here, parts of that chain start to arrange themselves locally. Hydrogen bonds form between amino acids nearby in the chain, creating regular patterns.
Patterns like?
The main ones are coils, called alpha helices, or folding sheets, called beta pleated sheets, like little twists and folds along the chain.
Okay, helices and sheets. That's secondary. What's next?
Tertiary structure. Now we're talking about the overall unique 3D shape of one entire polypeptide chain. The helices and sheets, along with other parts of the chain, fold and bend and interact with each other.
Ah, so this is where this specific functional shape really emerges.
Exactly. This tertiary fold creates the specific pockets or grooves, like the active site on an enzyme or the binding site on an antibody. This is the functional shape for many proteins.
Right, so it's gone from a string to local coils folds to a full 3D shape. Is that it?
Almost. For some proteins, yes, but many are actually made of more than one polypeptide chain, and that's the quaternary structure.
Ah, multiple chains coming together.
Exactly. It's the final, complete protein shape formed when several separate tertiary structures, several chains assemble into one functional unit. Hemoglobin, carrying oxygen in your blood, is a classic example. It's made of 4 chains working together.
4 chains, wow. Okay, primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary, sequence, local folds, overall shape of one chain, multiple chains together.
You got it. And if we connect this back, this whole folding process is just, well, incredible. It allows for this huge complexity and specialization, all starting from that simple sequence of 20 amino acids. It's amazing molecular engineering.
It really is. Now, let's talk about one specific super important job proteins do, being enzymes. You mentioned them earlier.
Oh, yes, enzymes. Crucial stuff.
The notes called them catalysts. What does that mean in, like, simple terms?
A catalyst is something that speeds up a chemical reaction without being used up itself. So enzymes are proteins that act as biological catalysts. They lower the activation energy needed for a reaction to start.
Activation energy, like the energy hump a reaction needs to get over.
Exactly that hump. Enzymes basically find a shortcut, a lower energy pathway, so the reaction can happen much, much faster, sometimes millions of times faster at body temperature.
And the enzyme itself isn't changed.
Nope. It does its job, speeds up the reaction, and then it's ready for the next one. They're incredibly efficient.
Okay, so how do they actually do that? How do they work on specific reactions?
Well, the molecule an enzyme works on is called the substrate. Think of it as the reactant.
Substrate, okay.
And the enzyme has a specific place on it called the active site. This active site has a unique shape that perfectly fits its specific substrate or substrates.
Like a lock and key.
Sort of, yeah, that's the classic analogy. Or maybe even better, like a glove fitting a hand. There's a bit of flexibility, a dynamic fit. When the substrate binds to the active site, the enzyme helps the reaction happen.
Very specific. Do enzymes need anything else to work? Or do they always fly solo?
That's a good question. Often they need a little help. The notes mention cofactors or coenzymes.
Right. What are those?
They can be metal ions like iron or magnesium, or small organic molecules often derived from vitamins. They basically bind to the enzyme, sometimes in or near the active site, and help it do its job. Maybe they help the substrate bind, or they participate in the reaction itself. They're like essential assistants.
Okay, enzyme helpers. And you mentioned reactions. The notes briefly touch on energy like exergonic and endergonic reactions.
Yeah, that's just about energy flow. Exergonic reactions release energy. Think of breaking down fuel. Endergonic reactions require energy input, like building complex molecules.
And enzymes are involved in both.
Absolutely. Enzymes facilitate both types, managing the energy transfers that are fundamental to, well, all of life's processes. They're central to metabolism.
Got it. So let's try and wrap this up. What does this all mean for us, for you listening? We've taken quite a deep dive into proteins. We've seen they're totally essential, the ultimate building blocks. But also, they do this mind-boggling range of jobs, transport, structure, immune defense, and these incredible enzymes driving reactions.
Yeah, the diversity is key.
And it all hinges on their shape, which is meticulously built up through those 4 levels of structure, starting from just 20 basic amino acid building blocks.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, understanding proteins, their shape, their function, is really fundamental to understanding almost any biological process. Digestion, movement, thinking, fighting infection.
It all comes back to proteins.
It really does. They are the molecular architects, the machines doing the work inside us.
So maybe something to think about. Your body, right now, is performing millions, probably billions, of these precise protein actions every single second. just running everything silently in the background? What other everyday things you see or experience, might actually be powered by these tiny, incredible architects without you even realizing it?
That's a great thought to leave on.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.